Morning, everybody. David Shapiro here. We are going to finish our long-term chatbot, long-term chat with external sources. I was working on it, and I was just cleaning up a couple things, and I realized I was getting carried away, so I was like, let me just start recording. So let me show you what I did before I started recording, just so that you're up to speed. One thing that I did was I realized that my old lines and my recent conversation, I was passing the whole object, which was a list of dictionaries that included the line and the vector, and that's no good. In order to populate the actual text block, the convo block, I needed just the lines. So I fixed that right here, and then I also fixed it up here, where instead of just returning the whole ordered item, I returned I line for I in ordered. So that's a Python's list comprehension. Okay, so that's what I did there. And then I started working on a prompt, because what I realized last time is that my fine-tuned model, so let me show you the fine-tuned model that I used for tutor. It unfortunately I don't think is going to work as is, because it can't really integrate new information. So without any extra prompting, so you see like, okay, this works just fine. User, who was the last emperor? Oh wait, yeah, Tim. That would be Marcus Aurelius. I don't think that's true. There we go. Okay, so then what I did was I wanted to have the ability to search an external source. So in this case, Romulus Augustus, to get information, right? And so I wanted to have the ability to pull from external data sources, because sometimes, like GPT-3 doesn't know what it's talking about. Like in this case, it just gave me like Marcus Aurelius because that's a popular Roman emperor. So I was just like, I probably shouldn't have deleted that, because it's like, no, that's actually not true. So if we go to here and say like last emperor of Rome, last emperor of Roman? So yeah. So we can't rely on it. So this is actually a prime example of exactly what I'm trying to fix or account for. So what we would do is we would take this, and so let me just copy and paste this, save that. And so then we say, we go back to my prompt here. So I had a few prompts in, not the tutor chatbot, but long term. Prompt Wikipedia. Read the following conversation and recommend a single relevant Wikipedia article. So basically what's going to happen is, let me move this, it's blocking a little bit of my site. I hope you can still hear me just fine. So we'll pass in our conversation, and then we'll ask GPT-3 to recommend a Wikipedia article. That's supposed to only give one, but that's okay. So if we go and search Wikipedia for this, list of Roman emperors, so it'll probably just return the first one, that's fine. And then if we take this and ask like, who's the last one? There are quite a few, aren't there? Constantine, I guess that's the Eastern Roman Empire. I like how their portraits change. Very Persian. Macedonian dynasty, yeah. Oh, that goes way up. That's at the end of the 11th century AD, or CE, to use modern. Heraclean dynasty. Okay, anyways, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Point being is we ask, let's do single most relevant Wikipedia article. List of Roman emperors. Perfect. Okay, so let's actually update our our prompt here. Ta-da. Okay, so then that will allow it to answer our questions a little bit better, right? Because it gave us the Western Roman Empire, but it didn't really differentiate. So it's like, okay, well, is that really the best that we can do? And the answer is no. All right, so we we have our conversation. And so this is just relying on GPT-3 to just spit out information without thinking about it. So in human terms, this is like you're relying on your knee-jerk reaction or your intuition to just spit out an answer without really thinking about it. But that's not good enough, right? I'm working on cognitive architectures, so how do we make a machine that'll actually think about the answers that it's giving you? That means we need recall. So recall has two primary sources. So there's episodic recall. So episodic memory or episodic recall is my story of my life. If I remember what I did and said, that is episodic recall. If I remember, hey, you said XYZ to me, that is episodic memory. And in many respects, humans, we trust our episodic memory more than anything else because that is the experience that we have lived. And so episodic memory is what we're doing when we recall the most recent conversations, the most relevant lines of dialogue. So this is episodic recall. But then there's what's called declarative knowledge or declarative memory. So declarative memory is I learned this fact, right? Like I've never been to Rome. I never saw ancient Rome. I've never met any Roman emperors. But I know, or I think I know, that like Marcus Aurelius was a Roman Empire. That is declarative knowledge. So what we're doing here is we're trying to bring episodic memory and declarative knowledge into this cognitive architecture, into this chatbot. Okay, now that I've said that, I think you understand why I'm doing this. So now that we're all oriented, and maybe you knew this all along, and that's fine, so I apologize. Oh, darn. Okay, so the fine-tuned model can't integrate this external information. So I'm basically going to need to start over. So I'll just copy the same prompt that I used to create the original fine-tuned data for Tim the tutor. So just imagine a long text message chat log between a tutor and a user. The tutor is Tim, who encourages curiosity and uses compassionate listening. Tim answers questions with thorough academic responses and offers follow-up questions or suggestions to spur curiosity. Tim maintains a cool professional tone. So basically what I want to do is figure out how do we integrate past whoops, I did not mean to open my Spotify. How do we integrate past conversations into this? So let's just copy paste the thing that was already started, and I'll say, was that East or West Rome? And then we'll see what Tim says. Tim is short-circuiting. Oh, that was East Rome. West Rome fell in 479 AD. I think Tim's wrong. Anyways, I realized that I also need to get out of the fine-tuned model. Okay, so let's go back to just plain vanilla. That was the Western Roman Empire. West, yes, okay. So clearly the fine-tuned model is not perfect, but we also see that it spit out the answer and it didn't. So this was one advantage of fine-tuning is that you get the format that you want. The instruct series tends to do the double new line after an answer, which I find kind of irritating, but whatever. There's ways to compensate for that. Okay, so what we want to do is figure out a way to incorporate this kind of information into this. So like, how do we do that? Let's see. There are hints added into the chat logs that Tim can use to give correct answers. Tim should use, oh, hang on, my dog's barking, gotta let him in. Morning ritual. Okay, I'm back, sorry about that. Okay, so Tim should use the hints, which are not seen by the user to give accurate answers. Okay, so let's see if this works. Because if this does work, then we can integrate like all kinds of stuff from the outside world. You know, obviously right now I'm just searching Wikipedia, but there's no reason that you couldn't search Google or actually integrate other APIs. So I set up my Discord server. By the way, you should join if you'd like. There's going to be a link in the description. And one of the guys in my Discord server is working on doing language to API calls, which means that if you can seamlessly integrate any API call into any prompt, then like the sky's the limit, right? You can control robots, you can control computer games, you can search any information you need once you get API calls working. So his work is very impressive. Yeah, very smart people in the Discord. So, but for now, I'm just doing it manually by calling Wikipedia in the back end. Okay, so let's change topics a little bit. Who was the last emperor? Let's actually just see what it says here. Romulus Augustus, who was overthrown in 476 AD. Okay, so he got that right, but I wonder what happens if we, because this is going to be a mess. Legitimacy, yeah. Inclusion criteria. Okay, so it's all here. Eastern Emperor Zeno ended, yeah. All right, so let's copy this because this actually just has the answer in it. So then we'll duplicate that and we'll say, okay, so this is, and if this was our question, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. There we go. So our question, and then I think I said passage for this. So tutor chatbot, stop opening for the tutor chatbot. We need our long-term merge. Oh, that's merging. That's not what I needed. I needed answer. Yeah, okay. So use the following passage to provide a detailed answer to the question. So then we'll just say, we'll copy and paste this up here. And this is the prompt that I'm going to use in this particular cognitive architecture. Okay, so in this case, this is not a detailed answer. I don't like it. I mean, it does answer the question, but it doesn't provide any context. But heck with it. Let's just integrate it right now because doing just prompt engineering is going to be like good enough. Okay, so hint. And then let's see if that modifies what Tim says. Okay, and just spit it out. User. Okay, weird. I thought it was someone else. Tim. Why do you think that? You tell me. Who was Constantine? Oh, okay. User. What about the Western Empire? Gotcha. Okay, so that's not so bad. So what we can do is by pulling this, by having this hint integrated every now and then, I think we can get a little bit more interesting results. Okay, so that works. Let me let me just copy this, and this will be our new chat prompt. So we'll start here. So double new line, prompt chat. We'll see if this works. Okay, so now we got it. We've got our wiki. We've got our answer. So we generate a question, right? Generate a specific question, and then we get the answer. So answer question, which does the same thing. And this is actually several steps because we're assuming that we're going to have a really long answer, or several answers, right? Because if you look at how long this is, this might take several prompts to get an accurate answer. And so then we'll put the hint in and see if Tim can integrate that. And this is all just prompt engineering. This isn't even fine tuning. Once I get some more chat data, this could probably be fine tuned. And that actually makes me think, I wonder if I should save it all separately. Well, no, because I save it all out to a log file, long-term chat. So we'll say GPT-3 logs. And then, yeah, that'll be fine. Because two of these functions, see, we write it out to GPT-3 logs for the completion. So for the chat completion, and actually I will probably just get rid of that because we're not even going to use it, I don't think. Yeah. All right, GPT-3 logs, make sure that's the only two places we use it. Yeah. All right, so we're not using the fine-tuned model, so we can just delete that function. That's fine. Okay, tokens 200. We'll increase this token just in case he gives a little bit longer of a response. So let's do 400. That's fine. Okay, so completion create, engine. I think they're changing this to model, actually. So that'll be deprecated before too long. Okay, so now we got to integrate all this together. So we've got populate chat prompt. So prompt equals, all right, convo. And then we will also need the hint. Hint, and then it'll end with Tim. Okay. Where did I go? Here it is. All right, so prompt chat, replace, we'll use the same nomenclature, block. All right, so block with convo block, there it is. And then we'll replace hint with answer. And all this will be obfuscated in the back end, so that's fine. So then we'll say response equals GPT-3 completion prompt. So that will give us Tim's output. And let me make sure GPT-3 completion. Okay, so this line right here, what I do is I do two things. Is I strip it, so that means that any white space that's padding it, it removes that. So if there's new lines, extra spaces, whatever, it removes that. But then I also have this line here, which for any interior white space, so let's say that the output is like, here's one sentence, and then it gives a double new line, and then another sentence. I don't like that, especially for chat. So I say, let's replace those double new lines with just one space. So it'll kind of compress it all into a single, what am I trying to say, paragraph. Okay, so we get Tim's response, and then we have to get the vector for Tim's response and add it to, well, I guess first we can just output it. But yeah, so we'll do vector equals GPT-3 embedding response. So then we'll say, save the output. Line in looks like that. Yeah, okay, so we get the vector, and then info equals, let's see, line out equals Tim. And then we'll do response. So that should be good. And so then we say info equals, excuse me, line out and vector. And then we save it. So conversation append info. So that means everything is saved. And then we just print line out. And that should be good. Is this done? I think it's ready for testing. I am so scared of all the bugs that this is going to have in it. Okay. So yeah, we only have 2 places where it prints. There's a lot of steps in here, a lot of places it can fail. Oh, I'm nervous. Yeah, we do need some debug. So we'll do that, because there's the search part where it can fail. Old line. So when I put in the first one, it's just going to return the original line, and that'll be. Actually, no, I think I've got it so it'll skip that. Yeah, if recent vector equals that, it'll skip it. Okay, so for I and all lines, this will actually fail. Okay, so if lang all lines equals, actually no, we'll just say less than or equal to, we'll just say if it's less than or equal to count, return list. Yeah, that makes sense. Logically, that makes sense. So we'll just say we'll just return an empty list. That'll solve a lot of problems. Okay, so that's fine. So we won't have to worry about that. So old lines will be empty. So then we'll just join old lines. That's an empty list. That's fine. It'll skip over it. Convo block. And then we'll add convo block equals convo block dot strip so that it doesn't have any excess padding. Okay, so that's where that could go wrong. The GPT-3 embedding, I've used that plenty of times. Let me make sure I'm using the right engine. Text similarity, ADA. Okay, I think that's right, because we're looking for similar lines of dialogue. We're not doing querying for a document, because there are different, let's see, OpenAI embeddings. There are a bunch of different engines that you can use. So classification, search, topic clustering, recommendations. So yeah, clustering, regressions, anomaly detection, visualization. So this is what I'm using. Text search. So this is where you're saying, like, these models help measure whether long documents are relevant to a short query. So this is if you want to search, like, if you have a if you have a question and you're looking for the right document, this is going to be a different embedding. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm just comparing like apples to apples. So that should be fine. All right. All right, so we get our convo block, generate a search query. So we've got this, the prompt Wikipedia. This is here, single most relevant Wikipedia article. That seems like it worked. I had to fix it because it wanted to give me a list of stuff that I didn't want. Title equals GPT-3 completion prompt. Wiki equals fetch wiki. We pass it, the title. Fetch wiki. So we try page Wikipedia title. So if it gives us the right title, it's fine. Otherwise, we'll do a search, and then we'll just grab whatever Wikipedia thinks is the most relevant article. Great. Okay, so this will give us one article, and then let's see. So then we say generate a specific follow-up question to use to query the external information. So we say, okay, so we've got our follow-up prompt, which is this guy. So it says, given the following conversation and the topic, and the topic is populated by the title. Okay, so we're going to say that the title is the Wikipedia article. So we're saying, okay, so generate one follow-up topic question to ask about this. And so that means that it'll say, like, okay, rather than just say, like, because, like, for instance, if you arrive at the list of Roman emperors, okay, we're not going to stuff this whole thing. We want like an actual like last emperor. Emperor. There we go. And so like if we say like who was the last emperor, it should like zero in, and I think it did actually. So Constantine the Sixth. Let me go back to this. Is that who it said? Constantine the 11th. Interesting. Okay. Anyways, point being, we want to actually ask a question of this external information. We get the answer to that, and that will be embedded in the prompt as a hint. And then Tim can use that to answer. Oh boy. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work, but YOLO. CMD, CD, long-term, Python, chat. No such. Oh, whoops. OpenAI API key. What do you mean I need an API key? I didn't copy it over? So we'll copy my API key from somewhere else. And actually, I need a bio break. I apologize. And then we'll get going. Okay, I'm back. Let's see, where were we? Yes. All right. I'm actually going to add a debug function. Def save debug. And so then we're going to do label content, and we're going to basically just copy the copy this. So, but instead, we're going to do debug, and the file name will have label in it. And then debug out, and we'll just do content. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this debug function, label and content, I'm going to basically save each of these bits or whatever, save it out so that I can see what it's doing. All right, so we'll do save debug. We'll say convo. We'll just say convo, and then we'll do convo block. So that'll be there. And then the title, here, we'll do save debug, wiki title, and we'll say title, so we can see what it's getting. Save debug, wiki article, and we'll do wiki. So we'll just save what it got. And then save debug, we'll say question. And then save debug answer. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, so we've got a few intermediary steps. And I might add some more debug output, but that should be fine for now. User. Hey, Tim, can you teach me about particle physics? And this might take a second. Let me open the debug folder. Oh, nope, it blew up. Save debug, wiki article. Right, content. It really does not like something that's going on in here, because it tried to save the wiki article and it blew up. All right, so we will borrow our ASCII code thing from here. It's just something, I don't know if it's something I'm doing or if I need to do encoding something or other, but whatever. All right. So for the wiki article, fetch wiki. So we will do, when it fetches it, wiki.content, and then we'll do encode and then decode. All right. But let's see. So it got that far before blowing up. It got down to here where it tried to save the wiki article. So let's take a quick look in debug. Convo. Okay, it's saved the convo. Particle physics, and then that blew up. That makes sense. All right, let's close some of these things because they are all excess noise. All right, let's go back here. Hey, Tim, not time. Can you teach me about particle physics? And then it might take a second before it blows up, but let's see what happens. Now, obviously, this is too slow because that fine-tuned model was much better. What are the most fundamental? Oh, that's a good question. Most fundamental particles in the universe, presumed to be indivisible. Okay. It doesn't say quarks, does it? Okay. Oh, hey, look at this. Look at this. Oh man, this is perfect. Oh, whoops! I forgot to add the particle physics is the study of the fundamental of the subatomic level. It's a branch of physics that explores. Okay, cool. I needed to add the stop, but look at that. That was good. That was really good. Okay, let's pause real quick because I want to look at the debug. And okay, so it got that far, and then let's look at the GPT-3 chat logs. Yeah, so the last one. Prompt, imagine a long text message user, and so then it added, and what I needed to do is add these as stops. It didn't add the hint, though. Did I forget to populate in the hint? Because that should have been there. Various answers. Okay, that's fine. These include leptons, quarks. Oh, it did have it, but then there was only one. Okay. I need to actually, so first let's skip this if there is only one. So let's go back here. So answer question, so merge. Because we assumed that there would be a chunk, but there might not be, right? Yeah. So if length of answers equals 1, then we just return answers 0. That should be fine. Okay, so we can short circuit it because we only need to split this up. And answer multiple if the document is too long. Okay, so let's fix that. And then it didn't replace the hint. So prompt chat, hint is there. Oops, come back. Okay, so let's fix that. So that's the chat. That's the chat prompt. And then if we go into GPT-3 logs, this should be the last one. And it just goes straight from user to Tim. This is really weird. How is that even possible? Because that made it here, that's right there, but it completely erased. All right, well, first let's fix this other thing. because the stop is going to need to include user and Tim. So we got to fix that. Prompt, chat, text, replace block, replace hint with answer. And I saved the answer, right? So let's open debug, answer. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. So the chat block, but then I need to have the hint. Okay. And then Tim's output. Yeah. Because this is, okay, so the hint was here. It wasn't labeled correctly. I clearly have not had enough coffee yet today. But then Tim's answer was really good. Okay. I think I fixed all the bugs. Fixed the bug. Fixed the bugs. Okay, so let's Control Z out of that, clear that, make sure everything is saved. Actually, let's do get status. I want to exclude my API key. Did I not have a get ignore in this? I don't. New, and so we'll do open AI API key dot text and save this as dot get ignore. Do not save it into the debug folder. Save it here. Get add dot get ignore. Get status. Okay. Get add all. Get commit AM. Should be working. Get push. It's always like, I don't trust it when it works the first time. I guess it didn't quite work the first time, but like I saved all the debug and you saw, like, right? I'm not imagining things like particle physics. It gave me a wiki title. Here is the actual article. And here's a question. What are the most fundamental particles in the universe? Which is great. And here's the answer, which, you know, I inappropriately summarized it, but like that worked. Okay. Fix the prompt chat, print line out, and then we just go back to here. So user says input user. Let's add a space there. That should be good because that's Tim and there is the space. Okay, good. Good. CLS. Chat. Can you teach me about particle physics? Give it a second. It'll go through and churn everything in the background. We'll wait for that to finish and then we'll check on, you can see here it's going through. Particle physics is the study of the properties of particles such as electrons and photons. Cool, okay. So let's see, what is the difference between a particle and a wave? That's a good one. A particle is a small object of indivisible mass. That's fine. It did not make it into the final output, but let's take a look. Can you teach me about particle physics? So it was in there, but Tim decided not to use it. Interactions between particles such as the force of gravity. So I'm a little disappointed because Tim was supposed to use this information. But that's fine. Yeah, I'm actually kind of not happy about this because GPT-3 absolutely should use this information. So let's do a little bit of prompt engineering. Okay, so we have this and we say Tim should use the hints. Let's see. So let's just say Tim is an academic tutor. Well, here. The following is a chat log between Tim and user. Tim is an academic tutor who uses the hint to provide robust answers to the user. Excuse me. Wow, why do I have hiccups? And then we can copy the rest of this. Let's see. Tim encourages curiosity and uses ask follow-up questions to spur curiosity, and maintains a cool professional tone. Let's see. Tim encourages curiosity and uses compassionate listening. Yes, Tim maintains a cool professional tone. Okay, so if we have the hint part up front, let's see if this does a little bit better. A cloud of electrons, the nucleus is held together by strong nuclear force. Quantum electrodynamics. Well, okay. Still didn't use the information from the hint. But that was a much better response. I like that. Let's run it again just to see what happens. I almost think we just need to just spit this out. Like what if the hint is the actual response? And then we don't actually use the chat at all. Like, why add another step when we've got a good answer? Okay. Let's do this again. I might... Each of these answers is very, very different, which is interesting. That's fine. Okay, yeah, this is fine. Well, maybe I shouldn't be so unhappy about this, because when I look at what this answer is, so let's take a look at what the actual question was, right? So the wiki title was particle physics. The question was, what is the difference between a particle and a wave? So that's kind of inferring a question that we might ask, but that's not actually what was asked. Right, and so then GPT-3, maybe GPT-3 is smarter than me this morning. So GPT-3 is actually answering this question and kind of ignoring the bit about like a particle, but that is still priming it. So this is, I think, is actually really good. Okay, so let's just update the chat prompt with this, because I like this better. Whoops, that's the script, not the actual prompt. Prompt chat. So let's save that. And I shouldn't need to restart it because I didn't change any code. I just changed the prompt, and it's going to be reloaded each time. Okay. There's a study of particles such as electrons and photons. Does gravity affect particles? It's thinking. Obviously, this is not fast enough to be useful yet, but this is just proving out the idea that that you can pull from multiple sources, such as long-term memory, which we don't even have the conversation long enough to do that yet. And as slow as this is, it might not work. Gravity is a force that affects all matter. Okay, cool. Is also what keeps the planets around the sun. Particles are affected by the force of gravity just like everything else. Good answer. Let's see what that looked like in the back end. So let's see. Wiki title, particle physics. Can you teach me particle physics? We already pulled that. Question, what are some of the most famous findings of particle physics? Okay, subatomic particles. Does it mention gravity? No, it doesn't. Okay. So none of that made it in, that's fine. And then let's look at the GPT-3 logs for the final output. You know, I'm almost more impressed with this output than the actual chat output. How long is this video? We're already at 45 minutes. All right, there's going to be a part 3 because there's something that I did not anticipate, which is that all the thinking going on in the background is actually better than the chat output. So I'm going to stop here because I'm clearly onto something. It's just not quite. It's not quite there. Because I look at the precision of this and I'm like, this is good. And then I look at like how watered down the actual output is, and it's not bad, but it's also not the rigorous academic output that this is. So I think just by the fact that this prompt says like, oh hey, this is a chat, GPT-3, this model might be overly aligned, and so that it's watering down the responses and not giving me what I want. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to save this code, and then we'll come back to it because something interesting is going on, and I'm really impressed with what's going on in the back end. And I'm glad I saved that debug, but we're not quite there yet. So anyways, thanks for watching. I did want to say that I have a new Patreon. A bunch of people suggested that I should do Discord, and it was immediately popular. A bunch of people have now suggested that I do Patreon, so that way y'all can support me. And who knows, maybe one day I'll have enough supporters that I can do this full time. But yeah, so jump in on the Discord, jump in on Patreon, like and subscribe, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.